With just 2 days left until British Columbians head to the polls to choose their next government, we caught up to Conservative Party leader John Rustad at a campaign stop here in Chilliwack, BC. We got a chance to ask him about his plans to repeal UNDRIP.
So the DRIPA legislation that we have today is actually, I'm fear that it's creating friction between Indigenous and non-Indigenous people, and I don't want to see that. Reconciliation needs to be how everybody can come together and make sure that we prosper, together, both Indigenous and non-Indigenous alike. And so that's why we need to remove the DRIPA legislation. We're going to keep UNDRIP though, and use it, in the spirit that it was intended, as to how we work and respect First Nations in British Columbia.
Rustad also addressed the many concerns that Indigenous leaders like Grand Chief Stuart Phillip has about what that means to the agreements already signed if they are elected and repeal UNDRIP.
We've made amazing progress, and it speaks to reconciliation with our friends and neighbors and other entities throughout the province, forest companies, mining companies, and so on and so forth. So it speaks to harmonizing the management of the lands, and Rustad wants to come along and rip it up.
When I look at what DRIP is doing, it's creating a great relationship between government and First Nation leaders. It's not filtering down to the people on the ground, and that is what I'm most concerned at.
We also had a chance to ask Mr. Rustad about his plan to offer 20% of forestry lands to First Nations here in British Columbia.
So what we're looking at doing is First Nations should be able to fully participate in the resources off their land. That's exactly what the courts have said. That's also what UNDRIP has said. So we want to make sure that opportunity, which is why we want to put volume in First Nations' hands that are within their territory.
And if they get elected, the BC Conservatives say keeping families together is their priority.
It is long past time that we need to stop taking children from First Nations. We want to work with them and empower them, support them to be able to provide their own services. Enough of the 60s scoop that is just carried on. So we want to be able to work and support nations to be able to do that.
Advanced polling is now closed, but the election is Saturday, October the 19th, where British Columbians get to have a say in their next government. Tina House, APTN National News, Chilliwack.